we go. The inbound to McGinnis. Drive, stop, on, shoot.
Eight to 102. And if you want to say that the officiating was brutal today, I'm with you on that. It was brutal. But once again, we saw a recurring theme with the Trailblazers where their offense and their entire game went ice cold in that second half. It's a problem. It's something that they're dealing with right now. But the numbers in the second half were just absolutely dreadful. In fact, I wrote this down. The Milwaukee Bucks looked lifeless for most of the game, from the first half into the third quarter, and then the Blazers hit one of their cold stretches where the Milwaukee Bucks started their comeback. Portland, with 8:26 left in the third quarter, was on top by 25. 25 points, and the Milwaukee Bucks started their run. And that run from the 8:26 mark in the third all the way through the rest of the game, a 50-19 run. And it was fueled by a 12-0 spurt there in the third that got them back into the game and in a position to make a run in the fourth quarter when the Blazers went nearly 5 minutes without a point. And that's the issue. The offense went stagnant. Guys couldn't make shots after a red-hot start. And that's where the problems, started to creep in for the Trailblazers. And Milwaukee cranked up the intensity on defense and really started to cause some issues. So it is what it is. The offense is a work in progress. And as we talked about going into the game, and it's been like this for most of the year, worst three-point shooting team in the NBA and also dead last in offensive efficiency. So they can put together some good stretches. And that first half of basketball was as good a half as I've seen from the Trailblazers all season. They were making shots, they were sharing the basketball, and they were good. And in the end, they just couldn't keep it up. And the Milwaukee Bucks come all the way back, fueled by a 50-19 run in the second half, and they get the win at 108 to 102 there at Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee. For the game, the Trailblazers shot 40% from the floor, 40% from downtown. They committed 20 turnovers, which led to 23 points. And as we talked about with this team, one of the issues is when you don't have the talent or the shot making to be able to really put pressure on teams for an extended period of time, you cannot afford to cough it up and give teams opportunities in those departments, and Milwaukee was able to cash in. Giannis was his usual spectacular self, 33 points, 16 rebounds, and also dished out 6 assists. Damian Lillard today had 31 points on 7 of 21 shooting. He also had 5 rebounds and 4 assists, so 64 points combined between Giannis and Dame. For your Portland Trailblazers, Jeremy Grant led the way with 22 points. They got 14 points, 13 rebounds from DeAndre Ayton. Shaedon Sharpe with 17 points, 6 boards, and 3 assists. And Malcolm Brogdon, 18 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds. But the shooting numbers from the starters, Grant, 7 of 18. Sharpe, 7 of 19. And Brogdon, 7 of 23. So those numbers there in the second half really brought the percentages down, and Portland outscored 33-14 in the fourth. They went over 7 minutes without a field goal in that fourth quarter. They only put up 20 points in the third quarter after scoring 68 points in the first half. So it really was a tale of two halves for your Portland Trailblazers today. Your telephone number is 503-248-0009. 0620, 503-248-0620. Chris Burkhardt is here. And if you want to jump in and share your thoughts, you can do that. But again, as I've told you, my focus throughout the year is to focus on the little takeaways, the positives that you can grab from these Trailblazer games. And even though they've lost 9 of their last 10, it's really not about wins and losses this year. These are the type of games that will serve them well moving into the future. Paying attention to detail, getting some young guys some key experience. Obviously, today was a nice game for Scoot Henderson, who was able to really, get himself back in the flow and play one of his better games so far this year, which was impressive. Scoot Henderson today played 27 minutes, 13 points on 5 of 10 shooting. He was 3 of 4 from downtown and also grabbed 4 rebounds. So I like what I saw from Scoot. I thought he was impressive at times. And with him, you're looking for the incremental growth. And that's a good thing. But the way the team competed, the way they came out of the gate, the way they played strong, and the way they continued to battle down the stretch, I like it. And in the face of some questionable calls, they continue to hang strong and continue to battle. And I respect that. So I'm looking for the competition. I want to see how guys compete. I want to see how they battle defensively. I want to see how they come after it. I mean, all of these things I think are key to watch with the Trailblazers right now, and it's impressive to me. And even in the face of losses right now, we're looking for these little things that we can grab onto. And for the Trailblazers today, they competed well for long stretches in this game. But offensively, they're going to have to find ways to, change it up, and this will be on the coaching staff. Maybe different ways where they can get their big man, DeAndre Ayton, involved, better ways to, prevent stagnation of the offense in the second half and run more actions and get guys involved. I think that's going to be critical, but it's tough. And when you have a lack of talent or shot making, these issues are going to pop up from time to time. So, Burkhardt, where do you stand on the game today? The Blazers play a great first half. They fall apart about midway through the third and really come apart at the seams in the fourth quarter. But in the end, they competed and played a much better game than I expected. So how do you take that one up so big and you lose, but you compete well? It's a painful loss because they're up so big, as much as 26 points there in the third.
Yeah, it's a painful loss for sure. It's the thing is, at some point you would hope that even though they have a lack of shooting, right? We know this, Chad. We've talked about it all year long, but you would hope that at some point the little things that we've talked about all year long would maybe find a way to be fixed. And one of those things is this team comes out with energy. They play really well for about 3 quarters. How many times have we come on the show and say they just ran out of gas, didn't have the firepower, didn't have the shooters to keep up? They looked really good early because the shots were falling, but this is a team that if the shots are not falling, they will not stay in games. So to get up 26 points and then to let that go away, that's a tough pill to swallow for sure.
I would agree with that. You're right. It's the fatigue. I think that's a lot of it because you compete so hard and you're running so hard to do all the little things the way that the coach wants you to do. And then you wind up in a situation where you run out of gas, you get tired. Those things happen. It's tough. It's a tough one. And you know how it is when you get tired and guys have been running hard for 3 quarters. It turns into a situation where the legs get tired and the shots stop falling.
Yeah, especially with the early effort they were showing on defense. I mean, in that first quarter, I thought they looked great. Matisse Thybulle was great on that end all night long. And as I pointed out to you, I'm like, look at that. They're starting the game Kamara on Dame. Like, that shows what they think of Tamani, right? And they were expending a lot of energy on that side of the ball.
All right, Blazers take the loss today, 108-102. No time to worry about it. They got to jump on a plane and head to Indiana. They take on the Pacers tomorrow with the tip-off at 4 o'clock. 108-102 is your final. It's the fifth quarter. If you want to jump on board, 503-248-0620. Chris and I are happy to talk to you. And as we keep things rolling here in the fifth quarter, we'll hear from Chauncey a little bit later, and we'll focus in on Scoot and what's the Scoot. The officiating, like usual, awful. That's not a surprise. That's what happens in the NBA. Inconsistency from game to game. It drives me crazy, but I've accepted the fact that it's not going to change, so I don't let it bother me. The bottom line is the Blazers once again lacked playmaking and offense in the second half, and they put up a very measly 34 points and get beat 108-102. 50-19 run for the Bucks from the 8:26 mark in the third through the rest of the game. That's brutal. You got the fifth quarter.
Hands it off to Beasley up top to Connaughton. Defended by Henderson. Near side pass is stolen by Thibault. Gives it up to Henderson. Back to Thibault. The lob for Scoot, and he lays it in. Thibault with the steal and finishes it off on the other end with the pass to Scoot Henderson.
All right, fifth quarter, Chad Doing and Chris Burkhardt with you, where the Bucks use a ferocious second half comeback to top the Trailblazers 108-102. Burkhardt, let's talk about that offense in the second half. They're not a great team offensively. They don't have a lot of shot makers or overwhelming talent on that side of the ball. But what do you think are some things they could do creativity-wise to be able to generate more points or have, maybe solve some of the consistency issues with the offense? Is it a matter of trying to find ways to get Ayton the ball in better positions to score? Maybe he needs to be more aggressive in demanding the ball and get in position where you can get him some opportunities. Do you see any things they can do to help spice things up with that second half offense?
I don't know, just because without Ant, Chad, they lack shooters. They don't have shooters, and so the one on the court that is a bucket, if you will, is Jeremy Grant, right? And even he has his ups and downs. And DeAndre's been good, but it's easy to lump in on him. Brogdon, I thought, had a good game, but what is his game? Like, he's not really a go-to scorer. He's not a facilitator. Like, he does a lot of different things. So it's tough because what are your options? Shea is in a shooting slump right now. He's struggling. And again, I think that one's just straight fatigue from playing more basketball than he's ever used to. Scoot is still shaking off the rust. So where do you go? And you got to find those things that work. I would have liked to see the ball in Scoot's hands a little bit more this game. I like the idea of Malcolm and him together just because I think it gives him on-the-court experience with a very, very good basketball player that he can learn from. What I didn't like so much was Scoot's your point guard of the future, right? So why is Malcolm constantly bringing the ball up and Scoot is playing off ball? Like, I get you want to teach him to play off ball too, but get the ball in his hands. Run the pick and rolls with DeAndre. Get those things going. Mix it up a little bit. So, yeah, I think they stagnated for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think I like Brogdon and Scoot on the floor together because it gives you another ball handler on the floor with Scoot to be able to take some of the pressure off. I think that's a good thing. I really do. So I've got no issue with that. And I think Chauncey's doing the best that he can for the most part in terms of what he's got to work with right now. Limited options. And that's okay. That's okay. Got no issue with it. The Blazers got to continue to battle. Let's go out to the phones. Victor in Turkey. Hey, Victor, happy Thanksgiving. It's great to have you call in. What are your thoughts today, my friend?
Happy Thanksgiving to you, man. Well, I agree with all your assessment, for sure. But what I want to say on side, maybe it doesn't look too real, but I'm going to say it anyway. When they trade Damian Lillard and they brought, before that they brought Norman Powell and all those big changes that happened. Damian Lillard, not before the Damian Lillard trade, the CJ McCollum trade. The reason was it because Anthony Simon, they give him $100 million, and you said, well, yeah, Anthony Simon is on board because of CJ McCollum. And then even the Norman Powell trade, that also was affected in that trades with keeping to Anthony Simon. The philosophy of Anthony Simon, which nowadays nobody talks to. Well, I know you talk about him, but he's on the background. Is because the philosophy was that they're going to keep Anthony Simon when the Damian Lillard leaves, and he's going to take the place of Damian Lillard. Now we know what the Damian did today. And we know, he's a superstar, and he took over the game. So what I'm saying is, when the problem with the management and the coaches, when they brought the Anthony Simon, and then at the same time they brought the Sharp, and then, they brought a couple of other players. And then when they brought the Jeremy Grant, about the same time. I noticed the game, when these two played, they came in. Anthony Simon, he became like a third option. I remember he was passing 50% of his balls. He would pass it to the Jeremy Grant, and other guys and all of that. And then, he was almost forgotten. And then when the Sharpie came in, all the media focused. There was a long movie about the Sharpie. When he came from Canada, he was in the airplanes, all of that, They never made a movie of Anthony Simon, like that. But what I'm saying is, then the focus of the media and the coaches went to Anthony Sharp. Oh, he's going to be a superstar, this and that. But none of them, materialized. So what happened? What I'm saying is that was a bad philosophy, And even you or the Chris, it's not well, trade Anthony Simon. We get some assets. Anthony Simon don't care, trade him, get a superstar. But what I'm saying is, in this game, we see many of this game that you're talking about lack of offense. If they give the Anthony Simon the green light and the philosophy that Anthony Simon is going to be a replacement for the Damian Lillard, which was the main object of the CJ McCollum, all of that, it was understood by the media, by everybody that knows the logic. But that didn't happen. As I said, they used Anthony Simon as a third option, and the Jeremy Grant and the Sharpen on the front court. But what I'm saying is, if they give the green light of the Anthony Simon, you be the leader of the team. You're gonna have 80% of the shots. You're not gonna pass the ball to here and there. You're gonna be the leader like the Damian Lillard is, and they would focus on him. The Blazers would be a contender. I'm not joking. They are a good team in a defensive. They are a good team. But as you say, and Chris said, they are not. They don't have an offense. They are not gonna. Tivoli. Tivoli is a good defender, but he's not gonna make it. How many shots I saw him? He was wide open at 3-point in the third quarter. Nobody was on him, and he missed a shot. He's not going to be a consistent shooter. Anthony Simon is the only one that's supposed to be a replacement for the Damian. He's going to be that role. And if they want to trade him. But he doesn't care. But they don't have a good. They're not going to bring a sharp shooter like Anthony Simon. And I want to get your opinion.
All right, I appreciate the phone call, Victor. Always a pleasure. Well, first off, Victor, you've got to understand this is going to be difficult for you because winning games is what you care about the most, and I understand that completely. But right now, today, the main focus for this team or this franchise is not to go out and win games this season. I mean, they're going to compete and try to win, but that's not the main objective. What they're trying to do is a couple of different things. One, they want to develop the young players, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and then they want to take a look around the NBA and see what assets they can acquire with some of the veterans that they have on the team. And as those opportunities come and the Blazers get the right offer, they can go out and make a move and bring in some young players and draft picks and continue to reshape the roster. So the team that you see today is going to be a lot different than the team that maybe you see post-trade deadline this year and definitely into the summer as the Blazers continue to overhaul the franchise. They're in the very beginning stages. Now, in regards to Anthony Simons, I don't think the team has made a decision one way or the other on Ant. I think, first off, in order to know what he's going to be with this particular group of players, they just need to get him back healthy so he can play. Ant is unquestionably the best player on the team right now. It's basically his team, if you want to call it that. So he's the guy that is going to take the majority of shots. He's critical to their offense. He's the best shot maker, best three-point shooter, best everything. So it is his team. And I think what the Blazers are going to do as they continue this process of trying to develop their two youngsters, Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson, they don't have to do anything right now with Ant. They can continue to wait. And if they absolutely believe that Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe are the right pairing moving into the future at guard, then they can eventually make the move with Ant. The great thing is they don't have any pressure to make a move right now, so they can continue to wait and see how the development comes along, and then they can make a decision on Anthony Simons. I think Ant is a terrific player. I think he's also someone that still has a lot of room for growth, and I think he's a willing passer and someone that will be willing to share the basketball and set up his teammates. I just want to see more of Ant. I can't wait till he comes back from the thumb surgery. But the great part about Joe Cronin right now is that he doesn't have to rush to make any type of move right now. He can be patient. He can wait. And when the right deal comes along that you feel like you can't pass on, then you can look to move out your vets. Guys like Malcolm Brogdon, as much as we like him, and he's a terrific dude, great teammate, and he's been a good player so far for the Blazers are probably going to get some very attractive offers for him. So we'll see how things continue to shake out. But that's kind of the process they're looking at right now. But no decision's been made on Ant. He could be here long term. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out and see how things continue to develop over the course of, this season and into next year. I don't see the Blazers making any quick moves or snap decisions on Ant. Do you, Burkhardt? They don't have to.
No, they don't have to. Like you said, they're gonna want that guard depth probably as long as they can hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm's gonna be probably that guy that goes first just because the value there. Maybe they find a way to play those three young guys together, or they like a rotation with them. I know people have always argued don't pay Ant $20 million to come off the bench, but if you have handed the keys to Scoot and Shea and they pop, maybe you do. You never know. I think the reason you slow play this with Ant, Chad, is less to do with Ant and more to do with the market. I think you're not going to get a lot for a high-volume shooting guard who doesn't bring it on the defensive end.
I agree.
That's why Portland wasn't interested in Tyler Hero, right? And granted, they already had that guy, but there was we'll get a third team to come in, they'll take him, and there wasn't a lot of interest. And that's no disrespect to Tyler Hero. I like Tyler Hero's game. He's a good scorer, good player. But a guy who just shoots a lot and scores a lot at the 2-guard position doesn't get much on the trade market, and history has kind of proven that recently. So Portland has to slow play that one to try to get the most return, and then it still might not be a lot of return in the end.
I agree. All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the show. We'll come back and we'll hear from Chauncey Billups. We'll give you a scoreboard report. Blazers fall 108-102. The Bucks just dominant, fierce in the second half. The Blazers now will move to Indiana and get ready for a game tomorrow. Tip-off will be at 4. And Chris Burkhardt will have game day starting for you at 1:30 here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
The best performing team requires the best workstations. What's the Scoot is brought to you by Office Furniture Reborn. Need desks, better office chairs, or just the right file cabinet? Office Furniture Reborn has a huge selection of colors and sizes to choose from. So drop by Office Furniture Reborn's huge showroom just off Pacific Highway in 217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
But I tell you what, Burkhardt, you almost called the action and how it was going to go down today. Before the game, Chris was like, dude, watch Scoot come out and play his best game and show up Dame on that floor if Fi's ever for him. And early on, Scoot was perfect, 3 of 3 from downtown, had 11 points. He was in a good flow, and the Blazers were dominating the basketball game. I thought that was impressive to me that Scoot played his best game to date on that floor with Damian Lillard across from him. That's impressive. He was ready.
He was ready. I mean, and he has had a lot of them, but that was probably the most pressure-filled moment for a young guy. Like, Scoot's not stupid, so he knows that, hey, there's the guy that they traded away to give me a spot. And, yeah, he had a good game. The shot was followed. I think it was 3 of 4 at the end of the night from 3. So he had more three-pointers in this game than he has in his career up to that point. And, yeah, he looked good. He looked really good. I would still, like I said, like to get the ball in his hands, man. That's what Scoot does. It's let him go ball, let him do his thing. I think right now he's reaching. Like, you know, his old baseball term. Like, you never put all your weight on your front foot when you swing. You got to test the ice. Don't break the ice. And right now he's testing the ice and then pulling his foot back, man. And I just want to see him just go be Scoot. Don't try to be anything else. Don't play off the ball. Don't try to fit in a mold. Just go be Scoot. And if the coaching staff tries to make him anything other than that, it's pure stupidity.
That's a great point. Scoot Henderson today came off the bench. He got 27 minutes of action, 5 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 4 from downtown, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 5 fouls, 2 turnovers. So a good showing for Scoot, and that's what we're looking for is the incremental growth, which is nice. All right, the Blazers fall today 108-102. Let's check in with Chauncey Billups following the game today.
You know, we had a couple of shots that we thought could have really changed everything. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's a good teaching moment for us. You know, a lot of our young guys being able to sustain the way that we were playing, which was tough to do. I mean, the first half we played really fast. We rebound, we played, we going. We got the ball popping, we got it moving. And in the third quarter, we just didn't have that opportunity with the foul calls that was made. You know, when a team is shooting free throws, you can't run, obviously. So, you know, that changed the way that we had to play the game, you know, and it became kind of a half-court game. And, you know, they're a better half-court team than we are right now. I mean, you look at Giannis and Dame, and, you know, they shoot 32 free throws together. Not one other player on their team shot a free throw, but they did. They put their head down and, you know, and forced the whistle. So it was a tough one. It was a tough one, but I'm proud of our dudes. They played their butts off, and they did the best that they can. Well, you got to look at it. You got to talk about it, you know. And again, you know, it's not like we came out of halftime and just like went crazy and started turning the ball over, going nuts, and just gave it up. You know, when you can't, it's just tough. It's tough with the way that, you know, the whistle was going. It was just tough, man. Yeah, I thought Scoot played good. I thought he was confident. You know, obviously knocking down 3 threes, getting to the rack. I thought he did a good job. I mean, he had 5 fouls at the end, but, you know, I still want him to be aggressive on both sides of the floor. But I could see, you know, his confidence starting to just continuing to pick up. Yeah, I thought once I seen it, I thought that it would be a successful challenge because he got the ball first and then the hand, but I knew we had possession of the ball. So I'm thinking we got the ball. And truth of the matter, I learn something every night, you know. I just learn something every night. So But even with that being said, I mean, it's a jump ball situation. I thought we had the jump ball, and even that tip went the wrong way, just a bad bounce on that one.
Talk about what you learned something every day. What can your team and young team like this kind of learn from this in the game, going toe-to-toe?
Well, I think to be a good team, a really, really good team contending in this league, you got to have composure. And I thought that our composure was good for the most part, but when it really, really counted, we came unraveled a little bit, and that's a very experienced group, So it's a game like this that's exactly what you want us to be, to learn from that. All of our guys and all of our team, there's a lot of lessons in this game.
All right, there's Coach Billups following the Blazers' 108-102 loss in Milwaukee today. We'll keep things rolling here in the fifth quarter. We're going to come back and we'll give you a scoreboard report and let you know about all the late games in the NFL and around the NBA. The action today, the Blazers take the loss by 6. After such a great first half, they're going to jump on a plane, head to Indiana, and get ready to take on the Pacers tomorrow. Tip-off will be at 4. Game day will start at 1:30 here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
It's time for a fifth quarter scoreboard report powered by Columbia Heating and Cooling, raising your expectations of comfort.
All right, let's check the NBA scoreboard. Game in action right now, third quarter in Boston. Celtics lead the Hawks 69-57. 69-57. Let me try this one more time. In Boston, Celtics lead the Hawks 71-57. Jason Tatum with 21 points. Apparently, 57 and Tatum, when it gets in your head together, it comes out as Tatum. Halftime in New York, the Knicks trail the Suns 64-56. Eric Gordon has 17 points. Halftime in Orlando, Magic on top of the Hornets 61-57. Halftime in Memphis, Timberwolves lead the Grizzlies 60-43. Minnesota remains on fire. At 4:30, the Bulls will be in Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Brooklyn favored by 2.5. 4:30 in Cleveland, Raptors and Cavaliers. Cavs favored by 3.5. 5 o'clock in Denver, Nuggets and Spurs. Denver is favored by 11.5. And, of course, the Bucks over the Blazers today, 108-102. Checking the NFL scoreboard, one game is still going. The Bills in Philadelphia taking on the Eagles. Philly has a 28-24 lead. Buffalo has the football at their own 37 with 7 minutes to go in the game. Coming up on Sunday Night Football, the Ravens are in L.A. to take on the Chargers. Baltimore favored by 3. Finals from earlier today, the Broncos won their 5th straight, topped the Browns 29-12. Chiefs over the Raiders in Vegas 31-17. Falcons down the Saints 24-15. In Cincinnati, Steelers 16, Bengals 10. Titans top the Panthers 17-10. Colts over the Buccaneers in Indianapolis 27-20. Indianapolis now 6-5. Giants over the Patriots 10-7. New England falls to 2-9. Jaguars upset the Texans in Houston 24-21. They improved to 8-3. Texans now 6-5. And the Rams over the Cardinals in Arizona today 37-14. LA improves to 5-6. And that is your scoreboard report here on the fifth quarter. All right, so the Blazers tomorrow in Indianapolis taking on the Pacers. We'll try to bounce back after the tough loss today. So game day will start at 1:30. Chris Burkhardt will have game day and fifth quarter. I will be filling in for Mike Lynch on the Trailblazers broadcast. So that is the plan. The Blazers, the first one today, the first of a 5-game road trip. So we'll see if the Blazers, how they fare as this road trip continues.
Yeah, I just don't often ask questions. I just say yes. So it's like, you're like, hey, can you work Monday? And I was like, yeah, I'll host a show, not a problem. I didn't even ask you why. And then Curtis, Chad has the pregame show starting at 3. I was like, oh, that's why.
That's why. That's why. So I appreciate that. And we'll see if the Blazers can get back on track. That was a stingy one today. That one stings. That would have been a nice win for this young team.
Would have been. It's one you can hang your hat on. You could hang your hat on. If you lose a game like that, but you lose it to, Sacramento, even though they're a good team, but the Pistons or something, you're like, okay, whatever. But when you lose it to Dame and the and the Bucks, like your guy, the guy that was the face of your franchise, and you were up by almost 30 points, and then you let it slip away. That one hurts.
It hurts
a lot.
It hurts a lot. It hurts. Man, Giannis is so impactful. 33 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists. He's a freak.
Yeah. He makes it look pretty easy.
He makes it look pretty easy. I didn't even check his block shot total. 3 blocks, too. And 1 steal.
He does, and you get the comparison.
No, 3 steals.
You get the comparison every time, and some people, I think, kind of poo-poo it because they were just so used to, like, older Shaq and bigger Shaq. But, like, Shaq in his prime when he was just killing cats, like, he played like that. He had a little bump in his step, could run down the court and just bodied people down low. Like, when Giannis gets the ball down low, like, he can't stop that dude.
No. There's the stat line. 33 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 block shots, and 1 steal. That's pretty good.
That's good.
That's why they call him the freak. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for your time this afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday and the clear skies that we have here in the Northwest. Once again, our Blazer broadcast will kick off tomorrow at 1:30 with Blazers Game Day, followed by tip-off in Indiana against the Pacers at 4. And, of course, fifth quarter following the game. Final score today from Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee. The Bucks top the Trailblazers 108-102. For Chris Burkhardt, I'm Chad Doing. Have a good night, my friends.